So today we will see about the parameters. So if you see whatever the things that we are opening, like flow action section, so you can see the parameters tab, and even for data page also we have parameters tab is there. For report definition, each for each and every rule we have parameters. So what is meant by parameters? So parameters are like a property except they cannot create under the classes. So what the properties we are created under the classes, but the parameters is not like that. These are created under the uh, rules tab. So these parameters can be defined within the rule tab in parameters tab. So what is the actual purpose of this? So by using parameters, we can pass the values from one rule to another rule. So simply, if we can say, if you want to pass the values from another rule to um, from activity to report definition, like that, we can use parameters and we can define the values on it. So unlike properties, parameters cannot created under the clipboard. Okay, we cannot able to see the parameters on the clipboard. uh, so the only thing that we can see the parameters in tracer, while we running the tracer, we can see there is one predefined page is there for parameters. The page name is parent. So in the tracer, on the particular step, on the parent step, we can see the what are the parameters that we have passed and what are the result that we have get. So while passing, and the one more thing here we need to remember is, while passing parameters from one rule to another rule, make sure that parent must have parameters defined exactly matching with the child parameter. So case sensitive. Okay, so whatever the parameter that we have given on the parent, and the same exact word will be given to the child as well. Okay, so uh, let me show you the examples. Let me create an activity. And along with this, we can see about the tracer and some of activity methods call branch queue. Okay, so
Okay.
this is parent activity, right? So just save this. We'll write steps again. Next one, create one more. This is child activity. So in the child activity, I am creating a page. Page is child page like. So add step. property set. Mhm. Yes. Page dot name and page dot last name. So here I am giving parameters like first name, last name. So here we don't know the values, right? So simply I am giving param. Save this. Now go to the parent activity. Here I am creating one page. Now what I am going to do is I am calling the child activity. So in order to call one activity into the another activity, the first method is call method. Call child activity. Okay. If you open this, see whatever the parameters that we have given there. Okay. So the parameters here will be prompt. Okay. Then here we can give the names like uh, so what are the parameters that we have given here. So it should be prompted here. So whenever we refer the activity with the parameters, so that activity will be prompted for parameters. Here we are giving the values. Now just save this and click on tracer. Just trace this how it will be run. So actions run. Here we have tracer, right? We can close this. Trace. run. Success. So if you see, this is the how tracer will looks like. See here we have seen the number of executor steps and on which thread that activity is run, and the next one is the step method. So what are the steps that we have used in activity we can see, and step page, and the steps which are in that activity, and the status of step whether it is executed successfully or not, and the event type if it is activity then it can show the activity begin and activity end. If it is data transform it show the data transform. If it is section, if it is a data page it is show the data page like that. Event name will be different, and elapsed time is how much time it will take to execute the step. So and the name is nothing but the class and rule name, and this is the rule set. So this is about the tracer, and if you want to change the settings we can say, see by default we have only selected few on top, and here we have along with our application rule sets the PEGA over TB rule sets will also be selected if you want. Okay, if you don't want this we can unselect this, and what are the rule sets that we want to trace, so we can select those rule sets, and here we can increase the number of steps. See, what happens is if the step events displays 500 or 5000, when the tracer reaches 5000 steps, the further steps it cannot be executed. That's we cannot able to see what's happening. That's why we need to increase this number. And if we want to um, check the extra rules, like if you want to check the decision rules or declarative rules or data pages, so what are the rules that you want, you can simply add those rules and click on OK. Then we can see what is gone. So we can see the we can trace the rules. What are the things that we have selected in the tracer settings? So this is about the tracer, and let me run the flow this activity again. Run. Okay. So first of all, let's see the call activity. So here what happens is first one the activities begin. In the activity, what is the step one? Page new. So step one begin and step one end. So next what is step two? Step two we have called a child activity. So step two begin. In the step two begin activity begin, because what are the child activity that we have called, that is begin, and in the activity step begin and step end. Next step 2 begin, step 2 end, step 3 begin, step 3 end, and finally activity ended. So this is the child activity. After child activity execution completed, it resumes the main activity, that is parent activity. In the parent activity second step ended, third step began, third step ended, and activity ended. So it means what happens is while using call method, by using call method, and if you call any other activity, what happens is once the parent activity reaches to the child activity, the parent activity will wait for the completing the execution of child activity. So once the child activity execution is completed, the control returns to the parent activity and continue to the remaining steps. So this is about call method, just remember we can. Okay, so if you see here in the property set, see parameter page name. Here we can see the what are the parameters that we have defined. See first name PEGA, last name training. Okay. So where we have seen this thing, we are seeing in the step 2 property set. But the thing is, in child page, we didn't pass the value. We just given the parameters, right? But here in parameters page, we can see the values. Why? Because on the parent activity itself, for the parameters, we have defined the values already. So that values will be passing to the child activity as well. Okay, this is how parameters work. How parameters will passing from child values from child activity to parent activity. Okay, so this is about some parameters, and this is about call method. And again, Here we have see passing current parameter page. So passing current parameter page is like, so suppose in the child activity we have provided parameters, and when we referring the child activity it will prompting for the values. So here we have given the values. So if we selected these values, whatever the things, I mean what are the values that we have provided, the values that should be ignored. See, additional parameters supplied below will be ignored. So what are the things that we have provided here? Training. So what are the values that you have provided here? It should not be impacted anything. I mean there is no use. So when we need to select this option, if we have a parameters like in the parent activity also, then we can use the this option. Let's see, in parameters I have giving like same, to make the difference, first name, last name, valid value specified for name value doesn't valid valid period valid parent page. Okay, dot, sorry, name, last name, and I'm giving full name. So in the steps, before the child activity, using property set, we can also set the values at runtime. So properties name, so dot name dot last name and param dot full name. So what is the first name? We don't know value. Okay. So we don't know value. Then what we need to do? We are taking from parameters. See, let's see param dot first name and param dot last name. And what is parameter full name? That is param dot first name plus param dot last name. And if I selected the checkbox, what are the values? Here we have given PEGA training. So according to before, what happens, what are the first name last name we have given, it will taking the value as here, but here what are the additional value that we have provided here, it is avoided. Now here there is no use of this child activity parameters, because we already passing the parameters to from the parent itself. That's why we have chosen the passing current page parameter page. It means whatever the values that we have given passing here, the same values will also pass to child activity. Now see, if I run, so it is asking the, now at runtime it is asking the parameters, because here we didn't provide any values, we have just provided a parameter. So at runtime it will asking the name here. Now here we have given like
Manoj, your voice is breaking.
okay, maybe my uh,
Robin Robinson.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay.
so now I'm not providing the full name. Okay, what, because the full name we have already passing the parameter value param dot, so this needs to be combined. So let's see, trace, run. If we see the property set, see Did we do anything in the child page? No, because so we have provided parameters on parent itself and we have avoided the child activity parameters. But here we have selected option like passing parameters from current page itself. What are the parent activity parameters we have? Those also be passed to the child activity. So here where we are opening this parameter page, we are opening from child page only. Child step 2, open the property set and open the parameter page. See, first name Norvik and last name training. These values we have given, but what about the full name? We have not given. We have given like param dot first name plus param dot last name. So it is combined both Norvik training. Okay, understand about the parameters, how it is passing values from one rule to another rule. So parameters are very important. Okay, it plays a very important role in our enterprise applications as well. Without parameters, we can't do much in the enterprise applications. So this is about the parameters and call method. So what is the call method will do? Once the parent activity reaches to the step 2, step it will waiting for activity execution completed. Once the child activity execution like step 1, step 2, step 3 ended, the control returns to the parent activity step and continue the remaining steps. So this is about the call activity. So it is, this behavior is called a synchronous processing. That means uh, parent activity execution depends on the child activity execution. So once the child activity execution completed, parent control returns to the parent activity and continue the remaining step. So it is like a synchronous processing. Now I'm changing the method to branch. There is one more method called branch, which is also used to call the one activity into the another activity. Branch child activity. Now observe the tracer. Run trace. Now observe the steps and tell me what is the difference. So the difference is up to here, call and branch are same. So activity begin, and once the parent activity reaches to the child activity steps execution completed. Once the child activity execution completed, the control returns to the parent activity and it ended the activity. But after the child activity also, we have one more step. See, page remove step is there. It is not executed. So this is about the branch. So in branch, what will be happen is once the child execution completed, the control returns to the parent activity, but it cannot execute the remaining step. It will be ended the activity. So that is about the branch. But in call, what it will happen once the parent activity reaches to the once the control reaches to the parent activity after child execution, the remaining steps will be continued. But here, it cannot process the remaining steps. It ended the activity simply. The next one is the last one. The last method is queue. Queue method. See, using when the queue instruction, the queue activity will not be run on the primary or step page specified. Check the help documentation for more information. So, what are the activity that we have run up to now for both call and branch? Those are in a standard activity, but the queue activity will run on the separate thread. Let me show you. Run, race, run. See, standard. Up to now, these are run on the standard thread. Step one began main activity begin, step end, and see here we didn't see about child activity. Why? Because queue in the sense of it that activity is run on the separate thread. See, queue child activity. But here what it's showing step begin, step end. So here the thing we need to understand is the parent activity will not wait for the child activity execution. Queue means parent will run separate and child will run separate. So when the parent activity reaches to the child activity, so child activity run on the separate thread and parent activity will also run on the separate thread. So there is no dependency on one by one. So both are run at the same time. So this is called as asynchronous processing. If we want to see the child activity execution in activity in tracer setting, we need to select that option asynchronous activity. We need to select this option. Then only we can able to see that child activity execution. Now let's run the activity again. Run, trace, run. Now we can see if you click on queue activity, now you can see the child activity execution. These are all overview. Where is our actual execution? Here. So just observe the steps from 183 itself. The one up to 182, these are all OOTB. We don't need to think about those things. So here on the top, once the parent activity reaches to the child activity, the parent will not waiting for the child. Child executed on the different thread and the parent executing on the different thread. So parent will be continue and chain will also continue. If you see child activity begin, in the activity step begin, step one begin, step one end, and step two begin, step two end, and step three begin, step three end, activity end. So there is no dependency. So they're executed parallelly. So this is about the queue method. Okay, these are the differences between the branch queue and call method and about the parameters. So if you want better understanding about parameters, so let's take so this is activity one and this is activity two. So this is, so here passing parameter values. Parameters are last name. And calling activity to first name equal to param dot name and last name equal to param dot last name. Here we are calling parameters on step 1. What are the parameters fn and ln? So observe this scenario. So here in the first activity, we have given parameters first name, last name on parameters tab. In activity 2, we are given the parameters f and ln. And when we calling this activity 2 into the activity 1, it will prompt for the parameters values like fn and ln. For that, what we have given? We have given the, again we have mapping the parameters from parent activity. So that is param dot first name and param dot last name. So while passing the current parameter page, what it will be happen in the child page? So in the child page, so params, so these params first name and last name. So this is from the parent one, right? And this param child we have what? We have fn and ln. So here these parameters will work. No, it will won't work because what are the parameters that we have given on the parent activity and what are the mapping parameters we have given in the child activity? Those are not where we have given params like fn and ln. Now, in the activity 2, when we use the option as current page parameter, when we use this option, now what it will be happening here is, here for the first, this is params from fn and ln. This is from child activity 1 and this is from child activity. Now what happens? The parameters from both child activity and parent activity will be same. Now what are the values that we are passing? Those will be passed successfully. Okay. So this is how parameters will work. So
Okay.
same, these are like case sensitive. Whenever we are passing the parameters, we need to give the exact name. Okay, let's suppose.
Only PEGA is not case sensitive, right? Is it only for parameters?
Yeah, it is only for parameters.
Okay.
Next thing, so you can go with the requirement like up to now what we are doing is for country, state, and cities, we are selecting the values from drop down, right? Now what we need to do is if we select the country, that country related states needs to be displayed. If we select a state, the state related cities needs to be displayed. Okay, that is nothing but a cascading drop down. So not on the requirement, working with the cascading drop down.
Just a second. Okay.
Just a minute. So make changes to customer details form as described below.
Okay.
So first point, populate state drop down
Okay.
based on the options selected in the countries.
Okay.
Next one, populate city drop down
Okay.
based on the options
Okay.
selected on the states.
Okay.
Next, so for that, what we need to do? Alter the table and cities. I mean, alter the tables, states and cities.
Okay.
States and cities by adding new column.
Okay.
It means in states table, add country code column,
Okay.
and in cities table, add state code column.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Table.
So we need to make sure that the state code and country code needs to be matched. Okay.
Okay.
Now So what we need to do is, first of all, we need to alter the table. So go to the data types, open the states. Here add field country code. Country code. Submit. Go to the records and refresh. So country code is there. Now here we need to add the country code. So for AP, country code is IND USA. That also USA. IND IND USA. Save. And now open the states. I mean cities. Sorry, cities. Now here add column state code. State code. Submit. Auto records and refresh. So this is AP. This is AP. This is Tamil Nadu. This is also PM. AP. Yes. PM. Yes. Yes. Okay. Save. Now, what is the source for the states? How we are populating the states? We are populating the states by using report definition, right? So, fetch states. Open the report definition. In parameters, I'm giving the parameter country code, or I'm giving country code. In query tab, what we need to do is, so how we need to populate state and state name by using country option. So we need to filter it. So based on the filter condition country, we need to display the state. So here add filter. What is the column source here? Dot country code. Country code. So what is the country code value? We don't know value. That's why we are taking into the param. So param dot all matches. Okay, we can directly type it. Param dot. What is it? Country
Country
code.
city.
Param dot country code. Save. Filter value. An invalid comparison value or invalid value has been entered for the right hand side. The condition enter a valid column calculation. Mhm. Not getting param page. State code, city, country code. Sorry, you need to select data type maybe. Text. Now, let's see if it is generated a param. I think we missed the data type. That's why it is not in shown in the param page. Now we can see the
Okay.
country code. So directly select here. So param.country code. Save this. Check in. Added filter condition. Now, how we are going to populating the cities one?
Based on the state code.
How we are populating?
I forgot. Was it a
We are
data
going
page
to
or
we are populating by using data page. So underscore fetch cities, I think that I will name. Data page, open the data page. What is the source here? Report definition only. Same. In report definition, we already added the table with state code. So add state code, data type text. Next in query, add the filter condition dot state code is the source, value is param dot state code. Save, check in. Now go to the data page, check out. So if we here it is asking about the state code value, but here what we are doing is we are we are displaying the cities with the data page. So now what we need to do is I'm defining the parameter here. So state code string. Now instead of here I'm giving the past current parameter page. Now what will be happen is whatever the parameter that we have given on the data page, that parameter will be passed to the report definition. Okay, save and check in.
is there any reason you have selected string for the data type?
Because the values are string only, right?
Um,
It is not a
okay.
decimal or it is not an integer, it is not a boolean.
Oh,
Strings are
okay.
string only, right?
Why don't we see text here?
That's why we have selected string.
So okay, before we seen text, so I was confused. Okay.
Yeah, before that is report definition, right? In report definition, we have charts and different types of columns, sorting, filtering, everything
Okay.
will be there in the report definition. That's why they have given like text, integer, decimal, like that, date, time. But in database, it is not like that, right?
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, thanks.
So now what we need to do is we need to go to the that customer details section, user interface section, customer details, checkout. Open the states one. States. So here remove this and call it again.
What is the need of updating there, removing and calling it again? Or you
Because
want to get
then
that
it will
parameter?
ask about
Okay.
the parameter. It needs to be updated, right?
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
So fetch cities, it is asking about the parameter. Here, what is the parameter value? So where the country code is storing on the clipboard, it is storing into the country code property, right? So here we need to give the property as country. So now what will happen is whenever we selected the country, now the value is on the country property. Now the country property have the value, that value passed with the but passed through the parameter country code. So now what it will be happen in the fetch states report definition? This parameter country code will have the country value. Based on the country value, it will filter the states. Understand how it will works?
Yeah, got it.
At runtime, this parameter have the value. Based on that value, it will filter the states. So country submit, sorry, property for value dot state code submit. Like same for the cities also. Cities where the state code value is stored in the state property. State dot city code. Submit, save, check in. Run the flow. Where is the flow? Process flow. Customer details. Actions. Run. So countries, state, cities. Now I'm selecting the India. If I selected America, America related states are displaying. Okay. And now selecting India and Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh related states, what it will be happen? It is displaying all. let me. So there I have given. First of all, in the report definition, I have given the parameter state code, and that should be text, and parameter we have used in the filter param dot state code.
We are using the data page, right? D dot fetch cities.
Yeah, yeah.
And when is that reloaded? That's my question.
Also, we need to flush the data page.
I don't know. That's my
So again, the same parameter we have. Did we saved it? So state code.